Hello, folks. Chris Daly here. Welcome to another great conversation with Jamaicans doing wonderful things. And boy, we have a treat. One of our all-time favorites, George Graham, is back. A man of renowned talent and treasure. He's from Black River, Jamaica. He's been a long-time reporter and editor, working in many places in both the United States and Canada, as using his pen as his purpose. He's now in retirement, continuing to write a daily blog at Jamaicans.com. He lives, of course, in Florida, in Lakeland, Florida, with his dear wife, Sandra. We are privileged to enter into a rich conversation with him this evening on his latest work, a novel entitled Genevieve Little Ways. Welcome, George, and to do the interview is my partner in crime, Janice. Janice, take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Welcome back, George. It's been a while. So for those of you who do not know, we have interviewed George before. So that book was called Hill and Gully, and I think you would really enjoy it. But tonight we're focusing on Genevieve's Little Ways. So let our audience know a little bit about you. Can you share a bit about your Jamaican roots?
Well, as you know, I was born in Black River. But interestingly, I was born in Black River, St. Elizabeth, and my father was an agricultural instructor for St. Elizabeth and later the agricultural supervisor. So we traveled, I rode with him in the car, and we got to know St. Elizabeth pretty well. But, I was doing a family tree to pass the time while I was shut in here. And I found out that one of my ancestors actually landed in Jamaica when Admiral Penn conquered the island from the Spanish in 1655.
Wow. That's pretty, you have a strong heritage here. You have a family crest?
Well, I have a family crest from my grandmother's side, the Croft family. But I don't have the Graham family crest because we are the younger son of the younger son of the younger son. So, the elder son gets it,
Yeah. So you have a long lineage in Jamaica. So how has Jamaica remained a special place in your heart?
Well, who can help loving Jamaica? I mean, the memories I have, even as a little child wandering around the district, wandering around Guy's Hill, for instance, when I stayed with my mother's aunt, and people being so sweet and hello, my love, how you doing, sweetie? I mean, who else in the world is that friendly and sweet? I mean, nobody has a big heart like Jamaican people.
Quite true. How did you develop this writing skill, and who are your motivators?
When I was little, I didn't have any TV. There was no such thing as TV when I was little. I'm 87 years old. But we had the radio sometimes when we could get my father's battery out of the car, and we had books to read, and that was what we had, and the newspaper. So I guess I wrote my first story when I was about 9 or 10 and sent it to the Times. There was a newspaper called the Weekly Times, and they published it. And so I just kept writing things ever since.
Yeah, it's so important to encourage the youth, because here it is. You're a full-fledged journalist, and you've experienced so many different avenues, Haiti, the U.S., Canada. So it's good to write well. It's a discipline. What gem would you share to an aspiring writer to help them hone their skills?
Well, first of all, if you're a writer, you're writing. It's like I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a thing inside of you that just keeps coming out. I mean, if you're a singer, you sing. If you're a writer, you write. I don't think you can make yourself be a writer just because you want to be a writer. If you're a writer, you're writing. And I don't think there's good writing and bad writing. I think that you just try and make your writing, there's good communication. And if you can communicate, that's good writing.
Ah, okay. But you nurture your love for writing and then to bring out Genevieve's Little Ways, a novel with a cover photo of a bright red. That's what, reflective of her hair. How do you go about selecting such things?
Well, it was the simplest thing I could find on Lulu.com.
I thought maybe it was because of Genevieve. You know, when you were describing her, she's got, you know, very nice hair and.
Yeah, well, yes, Genevieve was quite a chick, hot chick, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, she was. So, what was the backstory and how you created Genevieve?
Well, what happened was I was going to write a story about an old man building a family tree and all the memories and stuff that came back. And as I was writing the story, Genevieve showed up and took over the story and just absolutely ran away with the rest of the book. And I don't know what, I couldn't stop her.
Ah, okay. You know, she just basically galloped away like how she would ride with Fraser in Jamaica. That's an interesting part. Fraser's an interesting character, too, because I like the fact that he talks about the condition of Jamaica. I don't know what era, what he talks about is why Jamaica is in the economic situation it is. So that was very appreciative because people are like, why is Jamaica like that? You know, it's a great place. We love it because of, I don't know, we just have a attachment to it, but we also have to face the realities. You know, when he was talking to Genevieve about the IMF and things of that nature. But take us through some of the major characters and what passage do you want to communicate?
Well, I thought that some people in Jamaica have had a very privileged life and a privileged generations of privilege. And they don't, I wonder if they really appreciate it. You know, this thing, the wealth of everybody in these countries, in America, in England, everywhere, the wealth that they enjoy today, that the middle class enjoys, not just the rich people, the wealth that the middle class enjoys is built on the backs of those poor people they dragged out of Africa and dumped in the belly of those ships and lugged over to these countries and made them work their tails off in the hot sun. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that actually built the wealth that we are all enjoying today.
Exactly, but a lot of people don't see it that way. They said, "Look, I didn't own any human cattle, so why should I have to pay?" But you're benefiting. You're benefiting. Okay, so do you have a variety of emotional expectations in this fine work?
I don't. I am hoping that I'll touch somebody's heart, and they will give of their bounty that they have received from past generations and share it with those sweet little children that I used to see going to school with their little pigtails and their beautiful little uniforms, starched and ironed and clean as a whistle on the good side of the road. I mean, those are wonderful little children. They deserve better than they get.
Yeah. It's true. And I do remember, you know, it's interesting you should talk about the uniforms because I remember, I was talking to my cousin, and I said, do you remember how those uniforms were just glistening? Because I'm sure you remember how they used to, you probably had a washerwoman that came in on Saturday, and then when they would wash their uniforms, and they would put it on the zinc and let it burn, and that's how the clothes would be so glistening. You know, you just don't see things like that anymore. But you have to give them credit because those things were done by hand. And I think when things are done by hand, it has a lot more, I don't know, meaning to it and also care. Yeah, I remember those starched uniforms getting done. Fortunately for me, I was a child, so I didn't have to do it. Yeah. My older siblings had to do it for me, you know. And I think with Genevieve, she's such an interesting person because when she would, you know, and you talk about her little ways, for example, she wouldn't eat a chicken in her. She'll eat a store-bought chicken, but she couldn't see herself eating a chicken that was killed in her facility. Was it because she considered them pets? Yeah. Is that why she wouldn't eat them?
Yeah, she was soft-hearted. You know, I mean, she didn't know. She grew up in the urban part of Jamaica where you don't know the history of the country very much. You sort of live a good life in a city, and you don't realize what's going on in the rural parts of Jamaica. And when she realized what was going on in the rural parts of Jamaica, her heart was touched because she had a soft heart, and she loved the little children that she met.
Yeah, but I was just talking what I'm saying is this: she had some peculiar ways, but were they really peculiar? Like she was still eating chicken, she just didn't want to. She just didn't want to raise them and then eat them, and then she didn't eat red meat, and then she would wear an old hat that was someone else's. So are those really peculiar little ways, or it's just that part of being human? You know, we all have our quirks, right?
Exactly. We all have our little ways. I mean, for a while I wouldn't eat red meat because, you know, they bled like me, but I would eat shrimp because shrimp looks like a vegetable to me. So we all have our little ways, you know.
I'm a little on the opposite side. I don't eat shrimp and those kind of stuff anymore, but I'm going to eat some steak. Medium well, though. You know, I don't like it mooing.
Well, I had to have blood. I had to have blood transfusions because I hadn't. Now I have to have a steak once a week, even though I don't want to. Doctor's order. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we got to go by that and follow it. You know, your inkwell is certainly not run dry. What can we expect your pen in the future?
Well, you know, I just turned 87 years old, so I don't know. I yeah. Imagine that. You know, who thought I'd live this long? But I don't know whether I have another book in me because this one came out of nowhere. But the way books come to me like a voice in my head, and I kind of write what I hear, and I don't know when it's going to come, but maybe another one will come. It depends on what the good Lord decides to do with me.
Yeah, but I guess it comes from inspiration too, because I've dabbled with the pen. I haven't published anything yet, but it's just gonna come to you, you know. Like I could be having a conversation, and then somebody points something out, or someone makes a really joke, a really a funny thing, and then I just say, you know, I'm going to write about that, and then I do write about it, or I write it down, and then it may or may not evolve. You know, or it may evolve to a couple of paragraphs, and I might put it down. So it's all about inspiration and also talent, because you've been doing this for a long, long time. Do you have any final words of wisdom to share?
Well, I think that the most important lesson I've learned is through my failures and not through my successes. I think if I had stuck it out a little longer, I would not have failed. And looking back on my life, I wish I hadn't been a quitter. That's the thing you don't want to be. Don't quit. Because you don't know what's around the next corner. And many a time when I quit, I would have had success if I'd stayed a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So don't quit.
And if you read hear that, writers? Because if you read, I'm a fan of biographies, and the person I have read his biography, I've read a lot of his books too, was Ernest Hemingway, and he has had quite a bit of revisions. Unfortunately, he quit in a very dramatic way, but but his writing discipline is what we're addressing, and he did do a lot of revisions to create the classic pieces that he did. But George, we're going to test your Jamaicanness. So, bulla and pear, or bulla and cheese?
You know, I have never eaten bulla with anything. I've always just eaten bulla. And did you ever call it butter dough?
I've had it butter, but you mostly hear it the pear and cheese.
I have. This is new to me. I used to eat toto with cheese and bun with cheese, but I never ate bulla with cheese, and certainly not with pear. I ate pear with ackee and saltfish, roast breadfruit, and maybe ampy and hot cocoa, something like that. That's more what I eat pear with.
Oh, okay. All right. Cricket or football?
Both. You know, at Monroe College, I used to be an off-spin bowler on the cricket team, and I kept goal on the soccer team. So I like both of them.
Okay, so there's no. All right, mento or ska?
Mento. I like ska to dance. I like to dance to ska, but the music in mento is so poetic. You know, Evening Time is one of the most beautiful songs anybody ever wrote in the history of music. Mento is very musical.
Yeah. Well, to learn more about Jamaican Diaspora, visit JamaicanDiaspora.com. To learn more about Chris Daly, visit Digital to Grow, that's the number 2grow.com. And to get George's fine work, you can get Hill and Gully, and you will enjoy, because I've read that book, Genevieve's Way, very easy read, and you'll enjoy it. Visit www.lulu.com/spotlight George G-E-J. Okay? So George Graham, or better yet, just Google George Graham, Lulu.com, and all his fine books are up there in the Lulu category. George, we really enjoyed spending time with you. We're glad to have you back, and we'll hear from you then with your next novel. We claim it, and we will see you soon, or talk to you soon. Okay? Perhaps next year. Bye now.
Nice talking to you.
Okay.
Okay.